Yo, people, welcome back to another stream of Two Up Front. I'm your host Ace, and I'm with my brother Major. This is a real at the deadline stream, bro. We said if we don't get this stream out today, there will be no preview to this week. There will be no preview, so we have to just get this in for all the listeners, all the viewers. So yeah, I think it should be a good one, man. We said it's gonna be another late night stream. The people that joined us yesterday, it's not gonna be another 5 hours. I promise you. We're gonna be a lot more disciplined. We're gonna get through. We're gonna get into the Premier League preview for the weekend. I think there's only one big game that we're gonna talk about. But before we even get into that, man, Major, how you doing today?
Bro, hey man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Obviously, last night, very long stream. A lot of football talk. But yeah, man, excited for this stream. Excited that, Premier League football's back. International break is over. And yeah, man, obviously, you've got a big game that I really want to hear your thoughts on. So, and of course, you know what? My club.
Hey man, every game's a big game
as well.
Bro.
You get me? There's a lot to talk about. So yeah, man. Yeah, excited, bro.
No, I hear it, man. And before we even just get into the football, I just wanted to first start off with this international break. I wanted to just have a couple minutes just to say I'm tired, bro. All these players are out here begging, telling all the officials, please let us reduce the number of matches we want last time. You lot want us playing, please. Any way that you can help us. And you know how they responded? They responded by bringing the Nations League, bro. I was looking at it today. I was like, why do we even have Nations League? And I saw the reasoning. It was to minimize meaningless friendlies and give nations competitive encounters with equally ranked teams. I was like, did we ask? Who won the last Nations League? I'm asking you, bro.
What did you say?
Who won the last Nations League?
Who won the last Nations League? That's a good question.
No, it's not a good question. I don't expect you to know because no one cares about the Nations League, bro.
I'm trying to think who won the last Nations League. I know Portugal have won it. I know the Netherlands have won it. Mad. Yeah.
So I couldn't name a single. I couldn't name a single winner of this useless friendly, glorified friendly, bro. And why I kind of go into that is if you see how many players, bro, have come injured off the back of this is ridiculous, bro. We're coming off a summer where we just had the Euros. You think if there's one time where you can kind of cut down on the international football a little bit, it will be this year. But they said no. They said, yeah, three games into the season, you need to play more football. I don't know who cares about whether their country wins the Nations League, who they're playing. It's a waste of time. And I had to just get that kind of run off my head first. Because I was like, yeah, so Ake gets stretched off. I was thinking, oh, West Ham are playing Fulkrug. I see him, he's a doubt now for that game. And the most important one, to me personally, bro, my captain is missing from the North London derby. I felt sick, bro. The number, I didn't even Call of Fury, the first game, he got taken out. I don't know if you saw that injury. That injury was crazy. You see the Call of Fury? Oh,
yeah, I did.
God. It was so random. It was so random. So, yeah.
It's unfortunate, man.
And you know what it is too? I feel even wherever you think, whether they're footballers, you don't care, they get paid, they should play every single second. It's it takes away from the fans as well, bro. Going into games missing players because of stupid friendlies is actually so jarring. So I just wanted to kind of get that little kind of run out before we get into the episode. Because yeah, Ødegaard is a massive, massive miss for us. And I feel like that's just obviously a nice little segue into, like you said, the biggest game this weekend. It wasn't even funny. I think we were talking about this earlier. We're there's actually not a lot of big matches this weekend. This is one of them weekends where there's a lot of fixtures where on paper you kind of predict who you think is going to win. But this is definitely one that, I think you can't say that for. So I know before I say my piece, man, I wanted to kind of, I guess, set the scene of, from an Arsenal fans' point of view, and then you then go off, bro, and then I'll add my kind of 2 minutes afterwards. Because obviously, I'm coming to this game thinking my midfield has been decimated. This is why I was so angry with that red card, why I was fuming, bro. This is why I kept doing this.
Trying to stop Drogba getting himself into further trouble.
I kept doing that. I kept playing that clip, bro, because I was tired. I said that you now lost off Declan Rice with the stupidest red card. So he's not playing in the game. Ødegaard has now been injured. He's now not playing in the match. I know they're gonna say, so you can't count him. Marino, he's gonna be in our strongest midfield. Is injured for another 6 weeks. He's not played. Our midfield is in tatters, bro. It's like we're going to this game with basically most of our starting midfield is basically just not playing. So I wanted to kind of start I guess the first question to you is just like with Arsenal's like design, how our midfield is looking. How do you see Spurs as favourites, or do you still think Arsenal with their depth can still do something to kind of like get us started on this one? So yeah, what do you think, bro?
I think very quickly a couple of things. I think with the international breaks and the injuries, it is very frustrating. So I completely get it. Just to add a little bit of balance, I do think that if it wasn't the Nations League, then I think like there still would be games anyway. They'll just be friendlies, and I don't know if I don't know how much of a difference it would make, like having just friendlies and having like Nation League games. Like I think they tried to make it more competitive, but I think there still would have been games anyway. Like so I understand the frustrations, bro. But I don't think it's like a Nations League specific thing. I think there's like, and you know what? Someone might even be more informed and say, you know what, like, nah, the Nations League means that we have to play like more games, like many more games in comparison to friendlies. But I remember before the Nations League was there, when there was friendlies and players were getting injured, I think it was still just equally as frustrating. And you're just thinking, this is just a friendly. So it's just like, So just quickly on that. And I think Spain won it. I don't think you really care, but just just to say. Okay, now to the main event. Yeah. I believe Arsenal are still favourites.
You believe Arsenal are still favourites?
Yeah, I still think Arsenal are still favourites. Yeah. And like that's just not me talking. Like when we give our predictions, I'll just give a exclusive. I predicted Arsenal to win. So
that is
so that's not so I'm not saying it to try and like wind you up or like put the pressure on you. Like no, like I genuinely believe that like I still think Arsenal could win this. Like so when we're doing our predictions, I'm already telling you I'm predicting Arsenal to win. So like I'm not just saying it just to add some fire after the conversation, but genuinely I think it is obviously, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be concerned, don't get me wrong. I think obviously missing Ødegaard, missing Rice, like they're two big players for you, like, and they're also crucial to the way you play and your success as a team. So I definitely would be concerned. But I still think when I look at Arsenal and the foundations of what Arsenal have been successful with, like over the course of the last couple of seasons, especially last season, I think defensively you're still really solid. So like defensively, I think there's no problems there. Like you're gonna be rock solid. Gabriel Saliba, White. Do you know who's gonna start at left back? Probably.
It'll probably be Timber.
Probably Timber again, and then Raya. And I think defensively you're really solid. And I think your defensive foundation, I think that's going to be the key to a lot of your success. I think set pieces, we've seen the threat that Arsenal can cause from set pieces. We saw what happened last year and how bad Tottenham are at dealing with set pieces. And I think it's probably not going to be, I think Arsenal are going to have to adapt. So I think you've got a good foundation. You've got a defense that doesn't give away a lot of chances. I think you've got a defense that's solid. I think it's more so like your attack and your fluidity there, which there's potentially problems, as well as that midfield area with Rice missing and like maybe on the transition, like you're more vulnerable. But when I look at Spurs, I look at them and I think they're still really vulnerable. Like I think obviously we've spoken a lot about the high line and how it is that they play, and I'm looking at Sterling potentially running in behind. Like, do you get high line for life? But like I'm looking at Sterling and I think like he should be featuring in this game, and like I think that could be like a potential threat. Like, and I think like this, I actually think this is quite a good game for him. Like, so I think him being there, I think Saka, do you get me? Obviously, you've still got like your Trossards. Like you are going to have to mix things up. And
creativity in the tactics.
Yeah, creativity in the tactics. So I'm curious to hear. I'm really curious to hear how do you think Arsenal are gonna line up, and who would you want to move out of position? Like what players do you think, you know what, regardless of what's happening in this squad, you need to hold your position, and what players do you think need to make the sacrifice? So there's going to be a lot of decision making there. But I think Arsenal, they've built up experience over the years. Like we've seen them obviously already this season go to Villa Park and get the win. We saw them at the Etihad play a completely different style that what we're normally used to them playing, and Arteta adapted and said, you know what, we're going to try and get the point. Obviously, there's been many arguments as regards to, oh, you know what, should Arsenal have been more attacking in that game? But at the time, I think a lot of Arsenal fans believed that it was a good point. I'm sure some didn't, but a lot of them did. And I think Arteta believed it was a good point. And tactically, he looked at the game and said, you know what, this is how we're going to approach it. And I think that Arsenal will look at this game and say, you know what, yeah, we are missing some players. We are missing Declan Rice. We are missing Ødegaard. We do have injuries. But you know what? The foundations as to which we have been successful, our defense is still there. Our players that can, still many players that can impact a game, i.e. Saka, Trossard, we've seen how lethal he is with finishing. Like, I think that Arsenal, just with all their experience, I think they will approach the game sensibly. And I just look at Spurs and I just think they're naive. Like, do you get me? And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised at all if like Spurs won. Like, do you get me? So I'm not in any way looking at this game and thinking, oh, you know what, is a write-off. Like, it's gonna be difficult. Like, if you had Ødegaard and you had Rice, then I would be much more confident. So this is so this isn't a thing where I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, you know what, like it's gonna be any sort of walk in the park. Like, do you get me? I think it's going to be a tight game. I easily could have swung for a draw, but I just think when I look at Arsenal, like I said, I'm looking at the foundations as to which you have been successful over the past 2 seasons, and especially last season, we saw how solid that defense was. We saw your set piece threat, and we've seen we've seen the vulnerabilities of Spurs. We've seen the high line. We've seen how bad they are at defending set pieces. And I just think when I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the experience Arsenal have gathered, I think these are the type of games where it shows. And yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for you. Like, I think, yeah, like it's not going to be necessarily like, you know, a game that you might enjoy. You might, you know, be quite nervous, I'm guessing. Like, and you're already probably nervous in the North London derby, but especially with all of your injuries. But yeah, I actually think that you can get the win.
Okay. No, honestly, bro, like you're more you're definitely more confident than I am in that we're gonna get the win. But I guess to kind of go back a bit into, I guess to kind of set the scene as well for people who maybe don't keep in tune with, like, I guess what's going on with both clubs. So obviously, like, I think a good question you asked me is how do I think we're actually going to set up? Which I guess starting there, yes, I guess starting there, we'll go Raya and go. I mean, the back four is standing. Raya, Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, and then I think it's going to be Timber. I think Timber's like, yeah, he's fit, playing games. I mean, these are the type of games I said where Zinchenko would sometimes, if you had to play him last season, can be a liability because of his defensive frailty. So Timber will play for defensive structure. Then I will first start with where my concern is, man, and it's the midfield completely. Because I think without Rice, without Ødegaard, we're looking at a midfield of Partey, Jorginho, and it's going to be Havertz. That's what I think Arteta's going to do. And I feel like what worries me about that the most, and where I think Spurs can hurt us the most, is that we have no legs in that midfield, man. Like, I've been getting onto Partey for a minute now until this guy running back is a problem. Jorginho cost us was that all 3 points last year when we played Spurs, when he gave the ball away in a stupid position, when again Rice had to come off and he had to come in. So again, he's another player that on the ball, fantastic.
What did you say last year?
Yeah, last year when we played, I think it was them at the Emirates when Rice came. No, yeah, I think it was the Emirates when Rice came off and Jorginho came on, and then he lost the ball and Spurs counted. and scored. The
Oh,
2-2
sorry, you
draw.
said all 3 points. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
all
yeah,
three
yeah,
points.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Oh,
we're ahead at
sorry,
that
sorry,
point
yeah,
where
yeah.
he came on and
Oh,
lost
yeah, okay,
all three
yeah,
points.
yeah, yeah.
So
I thought you were saying that you
yeah.
lost
Oh no,
that
we
game.
didn't
Lost
lose.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
Okay, yeah.
ended in a draw,
The
but
2-2, yeah,
well,
yeah,
in a
yeah.
winning
When
position when he
when
made the
Son
mistake.
scored twice, and yeah,
Yeah,
there was the whole
yeah.
dart celebration, Madison,
Yeah,
Saka, all the
yeah, exactly. All of that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm,
obviously, I think because of that Jorginho party, I'm like, these man can get one pass. I think that's the
mm-hmm,
worry. And I'm looking at like even like I guess a lot of Spurs fans, I think he's advised about the young player, but even like a player like Sarr is usually I wouldn't even think about him. But I feel like that's the kind of legs that I think can really do party and Jorginho, and that's my worry. Where with Havertz too, we saw him in midfield where he's not the most nimble kind of player in those positions too. I think he'll be okay as a 10. I would kind of say maybe the 8 is where it's a different kind of story. I think as a 10, he won't be a big issue. But it's the Jorginho and Partey partnership that I'm worried about. But so I think that's kind of like my concerns going into the game where I'm like, I think Spurs, I guess, kind of say, and then yeah, and then going forward, I'll just complete the Arsenal lineup. Then going forward, I'm guessing if Havertz drops into midfield, I'm guessing it's going to be either Trossard or Jesus if he's fit enough to start up front. And then it'll be Saka, and then that's where it'll be a conversation. Where I think Martinelli will start, knowing Arteta. I think Sterling will come off the bench, but I agree with you that he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he could be very dangerous for us in this game late on into the match. I think it's definitely one to keep an eye on. So I think that's the Arsenal team. Then the Spurs team, I thought was even that maybe it might be a bit balanced for those rumors about Van der Ven being injured. Solanke, is he back yet? But then listen to what Andrew's saying. It looks like Van der Ven is definitely going to be fit. I think he will definitely start. Solanke feels like he's one of the bit more touch and go where he's fit, might be on the bench. I don't know if he'll start, but either way, they're big players for them, and I think them not having those will make me a bit more confident too. That cool, we're both kind of weakened, but I feel like they're gonna have much closer to their strongest team, and like it's such a cliche thing that's said, but this whole like I feel like we're going away to like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's a derby. Their fans are gonna be really up for it. Whatever I think about Spurs, about maybe their final quality in the final third, I feel like they're gonna make chance. They're gonna attack us. And I feel like because of that pressure, I'm not confident that the midfield in front of our defense that's usually really good will be what it normally is. And I think that's my kind of concern from the Arsenal point of view. But then I also agree with you later on when you're saying that with Spurs too. Why I'm also it's a little steep peek. I also don't think we're gonna lose this match, which again we'll get into predictions. Is because I also think Spurs will give us enough as well. Even with a weakened team, we can still catch them. That's how we can still exploit maybe the set pieces. We can still, even if we're having to defend a lot more, I think Arteta is much more willing to say, you know what, we're not gonna maybe have the ball as much as we're used to in this game. We're gonna respect them and we're gonna play them maybe more similar to how the smaller teams play them. That works where they sit back and then they just hit them on the counter. Yeah, you don't want Sterling. That's why I feel it'll probably be Martinelli, and then when Martinelli gets tired, it'll be Sterling. So either way, Van der Ven's hamstring that he just coming out from injury, he's gonna get them stretched. So I think that's going to be the kind of concern for them. I think because of how gung-ho they are too, they're going to give us an opportunity, regardless of how weakened we are. So that's why ultimately I think it's going to be a very tough game. Spurs worry me from the point of view that because they're so like in terms of their we've kind of spoken about like, how many chances they miss. But you also kind of feel like it only takes one game where they're just hitting gold. And now you're 2-3-0 down and it's long. Like I think they have that potential as well. And if you against us that they'll do it, then the next game they'll go miss loads of chances again. So I think because of that kind of uncertainty, it's definitely worrying, man. So yeah, bro. I think that's that kind of my kind of overview, initial kind of points in the game. But I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a very tough match, man. Like I think they're definitely gonna put on a lot of pressure. But yeah.
I think everything you said is completely valid. And yeah, I think when you're looking at that Arsenal midfield, it is concerning. Like, yeah, the lack of legs is concerning. And yeah, that is, trust me, as a Man United fan, I know about how your midfield can be exploited if it's not set up properly and if you don't have legs. And yeah, I think that is definitely something that I would be concerned about if I was an Arsenal fan. But where I would be more confident is, like I said, I think Arsenal have a good foundation. You've got a very solid defense. You had the best defense in the league last season. From set pieces, you cause havoc. Spurs are vulnerable. And then you've still got players up front who are quick, who can run in behind, who can try and exploit that high line and make the difference. So I think Arteta, he's going to look at this game and he's going to say, you know what? Yeah, we do have injuries, but we also have the experience of winning at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season and the season before. And we have the experience of going to these away grounds and getting results now, and we're going to adapt and we're going to try and exploit the weaknesses that our opposition have. Man, I think when you look at this Spurs team, again, attacking wise, they've got a lot of threat. They definitely can cause you a lot of problems. But I think Arteta's going to approach this game like sensibly. That's what I personally believe. Like, I think he's going to approach it sensibly. And I think Arsenal, they're going to approach this game sensibly. So again, you don't want an early goal to go in. You don't want a bad mistake. And then now you're under the cosh. And again, that crowd is going to be right behind the team. The atmosphere is going to be crazy. And then, yeah, you can find yourself in the midst of a storm. But if you control the game, and when I say control the game, I'm not talking possession wise. Yeah, I mean, control the opposition. Like, do you get me? Dumb it down. Like, you know, make sure you're solid, make sure you're resolute, frustrate them. Then I think then afterwards is now going to start to get more interesting. And I also think that because of the injuries that Arsenal have, and because Tottenham are at home, and like I said, they can be naive, there might be a tendency to say, you know what, we need to go at them.
Yeah, I think there's more pressure on them.
Yeah, the onus is on us to try and get these 3 points. And I think that's where Spurs can be vulnerable. I think Arsenal, again, they're not an easy team to break down. They can frustrate you. They've got a solid defensive partnership. And if Spurs try to go all out and really try and say, you know what, we need to leave with the 3 points, and the crowd starts getting behind them, and, you know, the pressure keeps going on and on and on, but they're not able to break Arsenal down. And now Arsenal pick their moments, because that's what this is. These games can be decided by moments. It takes one corner. It takes one mistake. It takes one ball over the top. It takes one ball in behind. We've seen what's happened with Spurs this season. They're facing Leicester. They had Leicester under the cosh. They didn't take their chances. Leicester get the goal. All of a sudden, it's a different game. We saw the second half with Newcastle. Spurs were all over Newcastle. One ball in behind. Game done. And I think you can't make those type of mistakes against Arsenal. You can't be that vulnerable against Arsenal. You can't be that naive against Arsenal, because they will punish you. Like,
you know what this is, bro? It's kind of that whole thing of like when you're going against a boxer that he's weakened, but you know that he still has a punch.
Yeah,
like,
you can't just
disrespect him as well. Like,
got it. So it's like I completely understand why, and you know what? Like, just to provide balance as well. What I will say is that if Arsenal allow Spurs to get ahead of steam early, like, and they start getting overran like a lot in that midfield, and, you know, Spurs do get a goal, then I think now it can become more difficult, because if Spurs do get that goal, and then Arsenal now do need to come forward a bit more, and then especially on the transition, if Spurs start breaking on you with that midfield and those legs, then things can get very nasty. And I, as a Man United supporter, would welcome that. Like, do you get me? I would absolutely welcome that. Do you get me? So it's just like, yeah, this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, this is really me, just because don't ever get it confused. It's like, I don't want you guys to win.
Bro. Nah, I know.
I don't want you guys to win. Like, do you get me? So this is like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm actually, and like I said, like, my prediction is Arsenal to win. So this is me just being genuine. And I genuinely think that whilst Arsenal are weakened, whilst, again, you don't have Ødegaard, you don't have Rice, you do have injuries, I look at that defense and I say, you know what? That's a solid defense. You don't really let goals in. Set pieces, you're a threat. You've got intelligent players who can make moments happen. Someone like a Trossard, one chance, one goal, boom. And I think Tottenham, their game management, and just game management, but also the players, like, when you're trying to deal with an atmosphere of a derby, like, things can change so quickly, and it's such an emotional affair. And I think, again, Arsenal have gained a lot of experience from these type of fixtures. So yeah, I think that's going to be like interesting. Just very quickly, to give Spurs their credit, Spurs haven't played bad this season. So yeah, like, I do want to give Spurs some praise. Spurs haven't played bad this season. Spurs have got the tools to hurt you. Like, again, when I was talking about like chances and stuff, Son, if the right chance falls to him. And it's funny because this season they've not been taking their chances as a team, but they've also got players where if things click, then you know they can hurt teams. Like, do you get me?
Yeah.
Attacking wise, Spurs again. Madison's looked a bit much better from like the second half of last season, where he wasn't the player that we saw earlier. Like, things look better for him. Again, you've got Son. We'll see about Solanke, like how involved he is in the game. I think that's also another because I'm looking at Solanke and I'm thinking, you know what, like I could see him scoring in a game like this.
Yeah,
like I could see, I can see Solanke scoring in a game like this. So so I'm looking at it, and you know what? Just even from like a completely neutral, well, not neutral, but like from a fan who is not like involved in this derby, like I don't support either of the teams. North London derbies, they're normally really great games of football.
Yeah, they are.
Like, they're really great. Just from like an entertainment perspective, they're normally really good games of football. Like, I look at a North London derby and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good. Like, do you get me? And I think, it is gone. I think Arsenal, again, I think they're gonna need to be really intelligent, and you're gonna have to look at what your current weaknesses are, and you're gonna have to manage the game properly. But again, when I look at your strengths, I just look at your defense, I look at how solid you've been, and I'm thinking, you know what, this could also be a really frustrating game for Spurs. Like, if they're not able to break you down, if you remain resolute and then you're able to hit them on the counter, and of course you've got the players to exploit them, then this can get really frustrating. And as the game goes on, again, because of your injuries and what the narrative has been, Spurs may feel, you know what, the onus is on us to collect the 3 points. The onus is on us to go for it. And you know how Ange is as a manager. You know how the crowd's going to be. And again, Arsenal can make you pay. Like, you can't leave yourself that open. So yeah, I think it's gonna be like again, if United would have played already, like I'm hopeful that
man. I'm hoping that you're gonna be quite regardless.
Man,
regardless of what happens in this one.
I'm hoping that I could just. I've got the 3 points early. I'm hoping,
man. We'll talk about it, bro.
I could just watch your game.
I hope not.
Just with enjoyment.
I hope not.
Of course.
I feel like listening to you speak now. I feel like something I was thinking about. So I feel like you kind of touched on a little bit. Was, you know, I'm also in my mind now. I just remember too that I didn't also add. I think the Basuma was also a really big kind of shout that he might miss this game too from a Spurs point of view, which I'm also hearing. That Archie Gray, they're saying, hey man, this could be a chance for him to come do North London Masterclass. First game.
Even too. On that, very quickly, bro. Just when we're talking about the youth, hey man, you haven't mentioned.
Bro, I was gonna get into it. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, Archie Gray, and then obviously DM North London Derby do his thing, and obviously there's also rumors on the Arsenal side that Nwaneri. He also might have a shout to play in this game too in that midfield. So I think Havertz will definitely start. No, not Arteta. I think he won't want to risk him from the LC start, but he will definitely come off the bench. So I think that little battle there in that midfield between Archie Gray and Nwaneri, it could be. I like those kind of stuff. Like, it's the battle of the youth. So I think that's one to keep an eye on. And that kind of made me think of like a follow-up question where what do you think are the other kind of big matchups for this match? Because another one I was thinking of is Timber. I love this guy, but I'm always so concerned when a player comes off a big injury like that, where it takes me a while to really believe that I need to see now a body of work that makes me confident that you're still going to be the same guy or the potential still there. And I feel like Brendan Johnson's a player that I do not rate, but again, he's been playing. He came off the bench against Newcastle, played really well. One thing that guy has is pace, and one thing Timber has is coming off a long injury. So I feel like that battle was so I'm really keeping an eye on. That in terms of how he does against him, but he can just lock him down and make me confident that yes, you can deal with the Brendan Johnsons, and then we can move from there. Brendan Johnson comes and gives you work, and now I'm thinking, this injury might be a bit long now for Timber this season. Is one I was thinking of, and the other big kind of battle I think in this game is the Sacco Doggy battle, because I was saying about like Doggy, I feel like he gets criticized sometimes in terms of like he's like defensive lapses, but I feel like he's also them players where. When I've seen him play Saka, I think he's them ones where if he respects the winger he's playing against, he's gonna be locked in. And I feel like he's gonna be like it's not like because he's gonna be definitely like up for this game. And I feel like what we normally see against the smaller teams, when he's thinking, oh yeah, but I don't know who that right winger is, and he's just falling asleep. He won't do that in this game. So I feel like that's another kind of battle that I thought is gonna be very interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't know if you thought there was any other ones that stand out to you, or you wanna add on any of those.
No, I think those are really interesting battles. I think yeah, like I think another, actually, before I even get into the other one, I think Saka and Udogie, I think that's gonna be key. Like obviously, I think we've seen over the seasons how teams have approached defending Saka, and a lot of the time he gets double teamed. And it's going to be interesting to see what And does with Saka and how he approaches trying to, mark him, like how the team approaches trying to mark him. But yeah, I think that's an interesting battle. I think if Havertz is playing in midfield, then if you decide to go with like a Trossard up front, like, or even like a Jesus up front, like I think it's gonna be interesting to see like how much your attack interchanges, like, because it could get tricky for Spurs as regards to who you're picking up, like, and I think that could be difficult for them. So I think that's kind of just more like a systematic thing when it's just like, you know what, like, and Havertz obviously when he plays up front, like he does drop deep as well, but he also like is someone that, like is more of a focal point as opposed to like, someone like a Trossard who, like they can move along, like kind of like that forward line more so. Do you get me? So it's just like, I think that's going to be interesting generally. So yeah, and then obviously just like Solanke, I want him to be fit, man, because I want to see him play.
I don't want him to be fit.
Like, I want to see him play because I want to see Solanke. I want to see Solanke and how that battle with Saliba and Gabriel goes. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see how that goes. Like,
I feel like that's the kind of battle that will start to change how people see Solanke.
Yeah,
I feel like a big reason why there was a lot of doubt on the price tag is you think against the big teams, are you good enough to really stand out, do something against something like that? If you can move to Gabriel Saliba, I think Spurs fans are going to start looking at him differently. So that is actually, that's a good one still. Like, that's actually a very interesting about to see how he kind of deals with those two. So so I thought that was and you know what's interesting that you talked about the Jesus up front thing, because that was I guess something I thought was gonna do really well, but it didn't. When obviously the Havertz in midfield didn't work out, is I always kind of felt like him and Jesus as a partnership could be really interesting in terms of them interchanging up front. So I would really like to see that. So that is interesting that you actually kind of point that one out. So, but all right, cool. So so I think that's the kind of my initial kind of thoughts on North London derby. Before you kind of get into the predictions for this one, bro, is there anything else that you want to add on this game?
Again, I think like for Arsenal, like we have spoken about like the pressure that's on Spurs to like obviously win the game because of the context. Because of the context. Bro, we got to talk about it.
Oh, mate.
So obviously we've spoken about the pressure that's on Spurs because of the context of the injuries, but also like there's significant pressure on Arsenal.
Massive,
because you are chasing, and I think when it comes to pressure is really interesting because I think that within the game itself, within the match, when you're actually playing, I think that because of Arsenal's injuries, if the game goes further and further along and it's still 0-0 or you're still drawing, I think like the atmosphere and the context of the situation will mean that Spurs will feel like, you know what, the onus is on us to go and try and get the win. There's an opportunity here. They've come to our home ground the last 2 seasons and they've won. You know what? It's time to punish them. But overall, in a different light, there's significant pressure on Arsenal because ultimately Spurs lose this match, top 4 is still on the cards. Do you get me? And that's predominantly their objective when it comes to the league. Of course, you know, there might be some Spurs fans who, you know, they think they can win the league. I don't know, you know, like Leicester done it. Like, do you get me? Stranger things have happened in football. But I think for most sensible Spurs fans, you're looking at this and thinking, you know what, top 4 is the objective. And whilst losing the North London derby will really hurt, it doesn't mean that your top 4 challenge has been like significantly altered, like, or significantly damaged. Arsenal, on the other hand, you losing this match, your title race is in serious question. And if you then go to the Etihad and you lose again, then there's serious problems for you guys.
Yeah, and
so
bro,
I feel
like that's the big issue, man. It's that Etihad game afterwards.
Yeah,
I think is the big concern.
So I think with having those 2 games, on one hand, I think again, like within the context of the match, Arsenal have gone to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 2 years in a row and they've won. Arsenal are currently suffering with injuries. You don't have Ødegaard, you don't have Rice. Things are not looking great from that perspective. I think Tottenham will look at this match and they'll say, you know what, we should be getting the 3 points. But when you look at it from a different perspective, you're looking at Arsenal and you're saying, you know what, for our title challenge, we need the 3 points. Tottenham can drop points here and they'll still be on for the top 4. Arsenal lose this match and City win, which we expect them to, then you're looking at the title race thinking there's serious problems here. And then you've now got to go to the Etihad. And yeah, man, it could be really damaging for your ambitions this season. So the pressure element is really interesting because there's actually pressure on both sides. I think there's pressure on you as regards to the context of your overall season. And I think there's pressure on Tottenham as regards to, in this game, there's an opportunity to capitalize. And you know what? We need to punish them. So I think it's really interesting. It's a really interesting dynamic.
I feel like I really like the point you're making too about, I guess, the pressure from the Spurs' fans. I feel like that's actually a really good point because it reminds me of last year where Spurs started the season really well. And I remember when they were coming to the Emirates, I feel like Arsenal, I remember online, we were so confident that we don't care how they started this season, we're still going to beat them because we were just like, we're just better than you. Now, even that was my energy going into that match. And it was definitely, the longer it went and the fact that, we're not actually just pulling away in this match, the pressure started to mount. And Spurs actually grew into the game. And towards the end, we were happy to leave the 2 point with the sun, with the 2-2 So I feel like
that was a really good game, man.
It was a really, it wasn't for me. I was
for you,
that
was a really good game.
So I feel like that's like a perfect kind of, I guess, example of what you're saying, where it's just like Spurs fans, there's gonna be some. I was seeing all the memes and they're dancing when they saw their injuries, and it's like that's all nice. But if on the day now it's getting to halftime, 60 minutes, and it's still a very tight match, then I think they're gonna start getting very concerned. Because like we were expecting to win this game on like, in the context of Arsenal's injuries. Like I'm sure the ones that are sensible will still look at Arsenal and say there's still enough there where we also just can't be overconfident as well. But I know there's gonna be a lot that saw the injuries and they thought, it's a dud now that we got this. So for those fans, the later it goes into the match, I agree, they're gonna get very uncomfortable if the game is still close. So I thought that was a very good point. And then in the bigger point that what you're saying about, I guess, Arsenal's season as a whole, I completely agree, man. Like I think it's the fact that we've already dropped the stupid points against Brighton now, so already 2 points behind City. We go into this match where overall, if you ask me right now, would I take a draw? I would usually just say I'll take a draw. But because of those 2 points, now there's much more pressure on us two to go and win this game, to stay with City, just to even give us some leeway where if we were to lose to City when we play them next week, it's not as damaging. But we lose this game, we lose to City, it's long. Like it's long. We're not catching up those points now if those 2 results are to go that way. So I agree that in the bigger context, it's a much bigger game for Arsenal in terms of for their season than it is for Spurs. Like I agree. So so I mean that's where the kind of worry comes from, I guess, from an Arsenal point of view, is that you see the stakes in the game. But I think you can probably kind of, I guess you judge it tactically, because I agree. I think if I break it out tactically, I still think, like, I think Arsenal still have enough to win this game. But I think in the context of the injuries, the context of we drop points already, we know the risk if we drop points again. You know, like those kind of like background stuff in football. That's just like that could be the little kind of sweep that takes us off our game, and then now Spurs go and win this game where we know usually we'd maybe expect maybe the way where we are now, leave at least a point. So I think that's like it's kind of affected, I guess, the Arsenal fan base kind of confidence in general going into it. So yeah, I definitely have to give them that credit. So yeah, definitely a worrying match. Right.
You know what I think? I think Arsenal can win this game. I think the thing is, I'm trying to, you know what? Yeah, I think this is what I'm trying to say. I think Arsenal can win this game. I think, but Arsenal may need to win this game in a way that maybe they typically normally wouldn't want to. And what I mean by that is that I think a full strength Arsenal will believe that, you know what, we can go over to Spurs and we can play the game that I think a lot of Arsenal fans will believe, and whilst I think they know how dangerous Spurs are, I think a full strength Arsenal, they're looking at it and they're thinking, you know what, we need to adapt, we need to be tactically sharp, we need to make sure that we're doing our roles, but we don't need to compromise as much. Do you get me? We wouldn't normally need to compromise as much. Whereas I think going into this game, I think you are going to need to make adjustments. Do you get it? And I think, like I said, I think the foundations, when you're looking at Arsenal's defense, you're thinking, you know what, they're solid. You've got a problem in midfield as regards to the legs. So you're going to have to approach this game sensibly. You can't be getting overrun in the midfield. You can't be going gun-ho and allowing Spurs to hit you on the transition. Again, as a Man United team, I know all about that. I mean, as a Man United supporter, I know all about that. So I think when approaching this game, I think you've got to look at your strengths. And what are Arsenal's strengths currently? Your defense, really solid. You don't let a lot of goals in. You've got Saliba, who's one of the best young centre-backs. Not even the best young centre-backs. That's a disservice to him. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world currently. Do you get me? You've got Gabriel and Saliba as a partnership. Again, been one of the best partnerships about. I think you're looking at your defence. You're looking at Ben White. Obviously, Timber has come back from injury. But yeah, you're looking overall at your defence and you're thinking solid. Your midfield, there's problems, admittedly, and Spurs could hurt you there. So that's where you've got to be sensible. And then I think in attack, again, you've still got the players to do damage.
Yeah.
So I think, again, currently you're looking at your team and you're thinking, you know what? Our main problem currently is our midfield.
You know what makes the midfield worse as well, bro? Is that I think it's also how Spurs play too is what makes it even worse. Is the fact that you know they're gonna come and invert both fullbacks into that midfield as well. There's so many bodies in there. There's so much risk for Jorginho and Partey to be covering between the two of them. So yeah, nah, bro. The midfield is my big concern because I agree, man. If I look at both ends of the pitch, I still think defensively and going forward we're good. I think we still have enough to also hit them on the breaker. So they also want to overcommit too. That's why I understand. They want to rubbish him. Martinelli is very dangerous in this type of match because the
in behind,
in behind. Like you said, Sterling too. Another player that you can come up the bench in behind can really hurt them. Saka, you understand? He's not a slow player. So I feel like I agree with you. I think from a tactical point of view, but it's just that whole that whole thing of like you said, as a United fan, you also appreciate that the midfield too, man. Can
win Question, a very quick question for you. Sorry, bro. Can you see a scenario where Arsenal don't concede in this match?
I can. And I think the reason I see that scenario is because of what we said about Spurs, where it's as much as Ange's system boosts all their players and they're going to get into loads of good positions, they have shown us already this season that they can also miss loads of chances. I think kind of what you're saying too with the pressure. If any of that kind of affects them too, where they're snatching at stuff, they're kind of desperate to get that first goal. I think if they kind of don't compose themselves in that final third, I think they can give us enough chances where it's like that was a mistake. You should have scored, you didn't, and now it's long for them. I feel like they need to be clinical, for them to definitely get a goal as well. I think, like you kind of alluded to earlier, that in general, defense is good enough to where we're not going to give them loads of big chances. So the chances they do get, they needed to fall like a Son. If it's falling to a Son, maybe an Ødegaard or a Werner, I don't know who's going to start for them. Those kind of players, they're still, I guess, on one end it's a player that we know is not clinical, and on the other end is a player that's inexperienced and young, or even a Johnson. Where it's like there's enough there where they've not shown that they can be trusted 9 times out of 10 in those positions. I think that's what gives us the kind of additional support where I wouldn't be shocked as well if we didn't concede. But I would say if I was to look at the odds, I'd say I'm more confident that I would more predict that we would concede, but I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs were going to score, because again, I don't want to do Spurs a disservice. Again, they've played some really good football this season. They've missed a lot of chances. They are a threat. Like when you look at Spurs, they're definitely a threat. And just got them playing an attacking style of football. They're definitely a threat. And I think a lot of this game is going to be dependent on how Arsenal decide to approach it. I think if you approach it in the wrong way, where it's like, you know what, like you're kind of, you know what it is, I think it's a balance again, and that's why I use the word, you need to be sensible. I think you can't approach this game saying, and I don't think they will, but I'm just saying for like conversation purposes, you can't approach this game and say, you know what, we've got injuries, yeah, man, we just need to sit back and pray for the best. Do you get me? Like, yeah, you can't do that. But also, you can't have the arrogance where you think, oh, you know what? Like, yeah, we've got players missing, but it doesn't matter. Like, do you get me? Like, fam, Spurs can hurt you. Like, Spurs can seriously hurt you. And I think Arsenal are going to approach this game in the right way. That's why I think, like, you can get the win. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. These games are really interesting because a lot of it depends on, like, do you get me? If Pedro Porro scores a screamer, do you get me? Like, all of a sudden, like, oh, the game's opened up. And then now, do you get me? Like, it can go one way. Do you get me? And it's like, oh, damn, what can you do about that? Like, do you get it?
That's no sport. You picked it up on the halfway line. Do one player smack.
You get me? Boom. Like, do you get it? So it's just like, damn, okay, well, what's happening here? Do you get me? So, like, there's obviously individual moments of brilliance, which Spurs do have players who are capable of producing such, do you get me, as well as Arsenal. But I think if the game, like, and obviously it's a derby, so, you know, you're expecting it to be, you know, like intense and etc. But I think if Arsenal manage the game correctly, then I can see them frustrating Spurs. And I think from there, again, when we're looking at the fine details, we're looking at set pieces, we're looking at, you know, the high line, one ball over the top, we're looking at certain moments of quality, then I think, oh, you know what? Yeah, Arsenal could get the win. And I think they also, for the context of their season, I think they also know how important this is. So,
you know what? I feel like where I also give like Arteta credit to in terms of the team that he built is one thing I would say is that like I think we were speaking about in yesterday's stream where I've kind of seen us go from the players that I think I've heard that come out players. I think I was reading why I guess when Fabregas left Arsenal, and one of the things he was saying is that he felt like I think it was him and like Najee were the only players that were really serious. That really, he said that we'd lose matches and these other men on the bus would be laughing. And I think that's one thing I can say now that we do not have players like that. Where I think even with the injuries, I think a lot of them are gonna. I think they're gonna be. I think Ødegaard's gonna be telling Partey, telling Jorginho, "I'm not in this game, but we need to win." You understand? So do what you need to do to win this game. You understand? So I feel like there's gonna be that level of I guess professionalism in how we approach it too. Where I think I agree with you that I trust the mentality of these players much more than like former Arsenal teams, where it gives me more confidence that this is the type of game where in the past us dropping off this little 5% and it can be a catastrophe. But because of that 5%, we'll just now adapt how we then choose to approach it to give us the best chance of still coming away with the win. Because I also don't think Arteta's telling these guys to go and be happy with draw either. That is me. I'm saying right now, to ask me, I'm sure he's telling them we need to win. I don't care who's missing in this game. That's like you guys are all part of this squad, so you now have to come in and do something. So I think I agree with you there, where the mentality of our players are much more confident that like they will still do the best that they absolutely can. I think it's just again sometimes with football, like you kind of alluded to, like you can have tactics. You can tell Ødegaard, you can tell Jorginho, Partey, this is what we're doing. But if Sarr just picks the ball and just runs past both of them, then they try to run back, they're just gonna catch him. And it's not a matter of tactics, it's just physically their physical limitations. And I feel like that's kind of my concern in the game as well. Where just like with you, Dougie, Poro, and all these guys in that midfield, can these guys pick them up? You understand? So we're not also just being overrun. It's like you can have the best defense, but if your defense doesn't have the protection in front of
Yeah,
you,
no, the midfield's
it don't
gonna have
matter.
to the
It don't
midfield,
matter.
and that's what I think tactically again, like you're gonna have to adapt. Like I
Yeah.
think that's gonna be really important. So I think again, like you're gonna have to look at this game and say, you know what are our strengths? Of course, we've got a back four, we've got a great defense, we've got a great foundation. Our attack, we've got players that can hurt the opposition. We've got players who can make a difference. We've got players who can provide a moment of brilliance. Our midfield lacks legs. We're missing Declan Rice. We're missing Ødegaard. Okay, you know what? We need to adapt. We need to be more compact. We need to make sure that we're hard to break down. We need to be able to frustrate Spurs. And then we're hoping that our moments of brilliance, our quality, a set piece, those things can provide us with the opportunity to get the win. So, yeah, I think Arsenal, it's going to be a difficult one. Like obviously you're looking at the game, it's not easy at all, but yeah, like, and it's one of these games as well, again with derbies, it's so hard when you're like trying to predict score lines as well. It's so difficult because you're just thinking, like I said, one goal goes in early and it can turn into a, do you get me? Like again, like in these type of games, like the atmosphere can just suck you in. Like, do you get me? So it's like as a player, it's just like you had the plan. And I think again, that's why it takes a lot of like when you're talking about game management, when you're talking about, and I think this is something that Arsenal they've got much better at, like as like you know, as this team has like got more and more experience, where they're able to manage these occasions better. Like, do you get me? Like, so yeah, man, gonna be a good one.
Yeah. So that is, I guess, the North. Before we, I guess, round up in the North London, I thought, let me just quickly show this. Let me just do this, and then let me do this, just to remind the people. So I made sure to make sure this was ready, just to remind the people what the prediction table currently looks like, just to let Major know that, hey, man, you need to be getting these predictions right, because we spoke about it. And then the season, I'm gonna get that OT Arsenal kit. Hey, man. You know that thing's gonna cost you a pretty penny. So yeah, so I just wanted to kind of remind that before we kind of go into, I guess, our prediction for this episode. Because I think if I just bring us back to the screen there. So yeah, so I will kick it off. You know what, bro? I'll be so real. Coming into it, in terms of logically what I think is gonna happen, I'm thinking a 2-2 draw, man. But the hopium, and I think I can't lie, you're giving me some confidence in your analysis. So I think I'm gonna lock in a 2-1 Arsenal win. I think it's gonna be tight, but I hope I'm right. And if I'm wrong in it. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in a 2-1 Arsenal. What's your prediction for this one, bro?
Yeah, I'm going with a 2-1 win.
2-1 win.
Yeah, that's what I went. Yeah, that's what I went with initially. Like I just thought again, I think Arsenal, like they can be, and again, like I was really, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal don't concede, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they do. Like, so I was really kind of like stuck in between. Like I was really, really close. Even now I'm thinking it, and I'm thinking, especially just to be different as well, should I go 2-0? Like, do you get me? So it's like, just because, you know what? I'm gonna go 2-0. I'm gonna be different.
2-0. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a 2-0. Yeah, 2-0.
I respect it.
Like,
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it. All right, cool. So those are predictions for the North London Derby. I've gone 2-1. Major's gone 2-0. So we're gonna see what the final result is. Hey, man, as long as I get the right result, that's what I care about this. So you can get the 2-0. I'll be happy. So yeah, so I think that's kind of, I guess, my final thoughts on the North London Derby. I feel like it's only right we go across to the other two up front team. You know, I've titled this one the EL-SACKICO. And why I do that, is no disrespect to what's his name? The Southampton manager. You remember his name? Russell Martin? I think it's Russell Martin.
Yeah.
Russell Martin, yeah. Obviously, I think he was my first manager to get sacked prediction at the start of the season. Not because of anything he's done personally, but just because, again, I think when the relegation team comes up, it's looking spooky. They're usually the first man to go. And we have Ten Hag, where I kind of wanted to we'll get into it at the end, actually, because I think after this, I wanted to kind of also look at United's fixtures and ask you more of like the bigger picture of, is Ten Hag going to make it to the next international break? But let me not get ahead of myself. Let's bring it back here and say, in this game, I think you also alluded to it on yesterday's stream, where you're like, the tactics. You wanted to talk about it a little bit. So I wanted to kind of give you the kind of room going into this one. Southampton away. You guys have lost more matches away under Ten Hag than you've won. Are you confident? Is this a game that you're just like, surely you're going to have to win this game. Talk to me, bro. Where's your head at?
Bro, I can't be confident, bro.
You can't be confident against Southampton away.
Bro, just currently the climate. Do you get me? The climate is crazy right now. Like, just generally speaking, the climate is crazy right now. Like, and you know what? Like, obviously, like Manchester United should be beating Southampton. Manchester United should be beating Southampton away, and like if they don't, then yeah, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on Ten Hag, like a lot of pressure, and I think there's already, you know, like a lot of pressure from the fans anyway. Like, do you get me? I think there's a lot of fans who are like me, who believe that, you know what, like Ten Hag, we don't believe that he's the right man for the job. Like, do you get me? And again, of course, I'm always going to support United. I always want Man United to do well. But yeah, like I think like there's a lot of us looking at it and thinking, you know what, like we're trying to look for a way where this can work out. And, you know, it's just not looking great right now. And again, like I'm hoping you can prove us wrong. Like, do you get it? I'm hoping you can prove us wrong. We spoke extensively about all the transfers that have been made. We spoke about the addition of, you know, Xerxes and Yoro and De Ligt and Mazraoui, and obviously we've now got Ugarte. And yeah, I think now it's really time where even just outside, just not even talking about this fixture, I think in order for Ten Hag to like stay in a job, like he needs to go on a run now. Like he needs to go on a run. Like I think what we've got Southampton, I think we've got Palace, and then I think we've got Spurs at home. And yeah, I think Ten Hag, he's got to be looking at those games thinking, yeah, we need 9 points.
Well. They're not easy games where you're uncomfortable about Southampton.
Bro, Southampton away, Palace away, and then Spurs at home. Like, do you get me? But like he's got to go into those games and he's got to put a run together. Like, yeah, otherwise, yeah.
And bro, you round off before the international break against Villa as well away, I think.
Yeah, Villa away.
That's why I looked at it.
Which is really difficult. Make it? Yeah, like, do you get me? Like, might be rude, fam. Like, do you get? Like, might be rude Van Nistelrooy. But yeah, taking it back to this game, I think obviously like the last game that we played was extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. Sorry, I think am I good, bro? Like I think
you're good. Yeah, I think you froze for a little second, but you're good again.
Am I good? Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just checking. But yeah, yeah, I think obviously the last game was extremely disappointing, and now obviously, like I said, we've got to put a run together. Tactically, it's going to. So there's a lot for me to talk about tactically, and I'm gonna reserve some of like my tactical analysis for Sunday, like when we're just talking about kind of like our predictions for the season overall, because yeah, like, I think that's where like, I really want to dive into it a lot. But just to talk on it briefly, I think obviously we've had a conversation about Arsenal's midfield, and we've spoken about how, you know, there's no Rice, there's no Ødegaard, and whilst it is really concerning, I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm thinking, you know what, these players have been coached to a standard where I think they'll have the ability to adapt. Like, do you get me? And you know what? When I look at United, I think, again, and I'll say this, I'm going to talk about this extensively again later, but I think the problem with United's midfield is that there's a systematic issue. Like, do you get me? Like, yeah, Casemiro's not what he used to be. Like, it's very, very clear. Do you get me? Against Liverpool, he had a bad game, gave away like 2 goals, bad passes, etc. But Man United's midfield problems go beyond Casemiro. Like, and the solution to Man United's midfield problems isn't just to put Ugarte there and say, you know what, you've got more legs, you're younger, we're going to play the exact same way, but we're just going to replace Casemiro with someone who has more youth and can get about the pitch more. that isn't going to solve Man United's midfield problems. We've got to find a permanent solution, which isn't just based on someone being energetic and running up and down. Systematically, there are key errors. We saw what happened against Liverpool. We're consistently finding ourselves vulnerable where we're in 4-on-2 situations where one bad pass is exposing us. And we looked at how Slot again analysed our pressing. And I think Mount has been key to how Ten Hag has been trying to press. Against Liverpool, our press was disorganized. It was chaotic. It had no structure. And because our press was so disorganized and chaotic, Liverpool were easily able to bypass our midfield, one pass into Szoboszlai, and then we're opened up. And things were looking like just, again, before they scored, I was watching the match and I was thinking, you know what? Like, it's only a matter of time because, again, like, we're too disorganized. And I think Ugarte has come in, and again, like his legs, don't get me wrong, like his like he's a welcome addition. Whatever it is that you think of him, whatever it is that you think of, like his profile, again, I think it was very clear. I think United fans, non-United fans will look at Man United and say, you know what, United are better off with Ugarte than without him. Like, do you get me? Like, yeah, we needed the signing there. So, but I think, again, where I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, cool. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, we started off the season and we were playing Bruno false 9. Mount was playing. The press was more organized. But again, I think the quality wasn't necessarily over there. And we were sometimes still vulnerable. But we looked more compact and it looked more strategic as regards to there looks to be some sort of plan here. Yes, again, and I don't want to go off on a mad tangent, but I'm having to carry on, bro, because, bro,
even me, I want to get into this conversation so bad, but
bro,
I know it's going to be another 3 hours.
Yeah, man, bro, so, that's literally, bro, I carry on checking myself, because if I start talking about this, bro, trust me, bro, I can, United's midfield.
We'll get into.
Cool. So, but just generally speaking, I think we need to see what Ten Hag's plan is going to be here. Like, do you get me? Like, are you going to try and pair Ugarte with a Casemiro? Are you going to replace Casemiro with Ugarte? Are you going to drop Manu deeper? Are you going to push Manu forward? What's your plan regarding Xerxes? Like, I think there's so many questions. And I think we're looking into this match. And I think now is weird because, like, at the start of the season, you know, it's a fresh season. You're looking at it and you're thinking, all right, cool. You know what? Ineos has come in. We've made sidings. Hopefully things will improve. Obviously, I was at Old Trafford, bro. And it's crazy as well because, like, I'm putting together like a montage of like, obviously, my thoughts prior to the match at Old Trafford and afterwards, and then like obviously Brighton and Liverpool. And it's just funny because it's like, yeah, man, like you're looking at it and it's just like, it's crazy how like we've tried our best. Again, I think loads of United supporters, we've tried our best to like approach
the outside. Yeah, so funny because you know, I feel like you guys, you know, I've seen United fans.
We tried,
man. To come in.
Bro, we're trying. You know what it is?
You're seeing what's happening in your face. Bro, like, I can't hold on.
Bro, you know what it is? It's one of them ones where it's just like you're looking at it and you're thinking, you know what? Even if we don't think the manager is the right man for the job, can these changes at least ensure that we get better and things can work out? And you know what? Like, we can improve. And I think, yeah, obviously, the last result and then with the loss to Brighton, like, yeah, just like morale's not the greatest. But I think in this match, again, I think it's one of them ones that we need to win. And I think with the new signings, I think there's going to be like a lot of eyes to see what Ten Hag is going to try to do. Like, what is he going to do? How is he going to approach this game? Because again, do you remember when we were speaking previously and I was talking about, yeah, I want to see how Man United approach games against the bottom half teams. Do you get me? Yeah. Remember, that's what I was consistently saying. I was like, I want to see how you approach a game like a Southampton. Do you get me? When you are facing Ipswich, when you are facing Leicester, when you are facing even like you know, teams like Bournemouth. Like, I want to see what your approach is there. Like, do you get me? And I think, yeah, this is one of those games where, like, you know, we've already compiled a lot of evidence. Do you get me? And I think we're looking at this and we're thinking, you know what? Like, can the structural changes regarding United and the new players, like, be enough to, like, move things along a little bit? Like, do you get me? Or is Ten Hag just going to continue to be tactically naive? Like, do you get me? And is he going to, like, persist in setting us up in a way which isn't going to be progressive for our football club? Because again, I think we're going to go into the Southampton match, and Southampton, again, like, they're going to look at it and they're going to think, yeah, man, this is kind of like a free hit. Like, where it's just like, you know what? These guys are vulnerable. They've just lost 3-0 to their biggest rivals. And we're here, we're at home, we're in the Premier League. And you know what? If we get a goal, these guys can be rattled. Like, we've seen it. We've got evidence of it. And I think, yeah, Man United, like, it's a weird one because, like, United can come into this game and we can win 3-0. And again, it's going to be one of them ones where, like, in order for fans to have more faith, like, there's going to have to be, like, a string of performances and a string of results. So we're kind of looking at this match and we're saying, you know what? You guys need to get the win. And I do think we are going to win. Like, I do think we are going to win. Like, you can see it being tough. Like, do you get me? I can see it being tough. And it wouldn't surprise me if United just yeah, like, bro, I'm just being honest, bro. It wouldn't surprise me, bro. Like, it actually wouldn't surprise me. Like, do you get me? It wouldn't surprise me. Like, I'm just being completely honest. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if I saw, what? Oh, one set piece. Oh, they're rattled. Oh, okay, chaotic. Oh, cool. This, like, it wouldn't surprise me. Do you get me? But I think going into this game, I'm also looking at, yeah, Ugarte. I'm looking at what Ten Hag decides to do regarding Casemiro, what Ten Hag decides to do regarding the midfield, what Ten Hag decides to do regarding Xerxes, what Ten Hag decides to do regarding Ahmad, Rashford. Like, again, like, I think, quickly touching on Rashford, I think it's, bro, I'm a United, man.
Hey, man, bro. It's all right, bro.
United,
okay,
bro.
okay.
You know what? I'm gonna stop myself just from going on. Do you get me? Because we will be here for 5 hours, bro. Yeah, what I will say is that United have to win. They need to win. They need to get a result. And when I say a result, I mean 3 points. Just to be very clear, they have to. There's no excuses otherwise. If he doesn't, then Ten Hag's in real trouble. Like, real trouble. So yeah, that's what I would say. I'm looking at this match and it's just like, yeah, it's really difficult because I'm looking at it and just thinking, it's kind of like one of those ones where it's just like, oh, if United come and we play great football and we win 3-0, it's like, well, it's Southampton. Like, you lost 3-0 to Liverpool at Old Trafford. Yeah, do you get me? You're looking at it and you're just like, United come, we play great football. Ugarte looks great. We win 3-0. We're looking at it and we're thinking, well, Southampton, we lost 3-0 to Liverpool. And then if we lose, then it's just like, yeah, United are a joke. So I think it's one of them ones where you've got to start somewhere. So we want to see a good performance. We want to see us pick the 3 points up. But then this isn't the be-all and end-all. Like, we need to see a string of performances. We need to see a string of wings. We need to see a string of wings, rather. And then I think it's only after that where, you know, like, our morale might, you know, be like improved and we're thinking, oh, you know what, okay, we can see what's going on here, etc. But as regards to this isolated game, it's just one of them ones where it's just like, all right, cool, we need to win. Like, we want to see a better performance. But like, I think it would be disingenuous of me for me to like say that, you know, like, even if we performed really well in this match, that I'm gonna use that as my basis as to why United are now back and why we are now going to be capable. It's like, do you get, and with the utmost of respect to Southampton, do you get me? But it's just like, yeah, like, I can't look at this game and say, oh yeah, because we beat Southampton and we performed well, that we're all of a sudden back. Like, do you get me? We've just lost 3-0 to our fiercest rivals. So yeah, it's just one of them ones, bro. Like,
No,
and
no,
yeah, I won't even, and that's why, like, even when you're asking me, like, again, like, because United's issues, if I start analyzing, bro, if I start getting into tactics, bro, we're gonna be here all day.
oh
Do
my,
you
I
get
can
me?
tell,
So,
bro.
bro, fam, I carry on biting my tongue, bro.
Oh
So
my
United,
goodness.
just win the match, please, bro. Like, and let me watch the North London derby on Sunday in peace, bro. That's all I'm saying, man.
I hear it.
Hey, man.
You know, I'm actually surprised because again, it's kind of that whole thing of like where, like that's why I said it's funny from the outside because there was that whole like backing of Ineos where like I can tell that the families want to believe and get like kind of, you know what, let's start. But because Ten Hag, there's no like restart for him. The like patience is more of Ineos. I feel like with Ten Hag, it's just taking a couple of results and just like the sentiment has kind of returned of just where you're just like, I don't believe in this guy. So like I think that's why I feel like we've kind of gone back and forth on this point, and I feel like I'm now clocked that we're arguing the same thing, or maybe I just don't verbalize it like in the way that I guess the way you kind of said it, which is where even going into the Liverpool match, my whole thing of even in that game, obviously we saw what happened and this and they dealt with the guys, but I was like, I want to see what this guy wants to do, man. Like I would even you guys lose 2-1 and I see how you're playing. I think I would even be like, you know what, that is cool. This is more sustainable. Like I think that was the whole kind of point I was trying to make.
See, and when you were saying that, what I was trying to say was that, bro, even if we did that, bro, you haven't convinced me.
I hear
like,
it.
I need to see the. I think that's where we are as a fan base. Like we're looking at it and it's just like, oh, again, like you can. What? Okay, great. Don't get me wrong. I would have been ecstatic. You got up, like you performed well against our fiercest rivals. Old Trafford was rocking. We put in a great performance. That's wonderful. Oh, even if we played well, but we lost. Okay. Like, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I've seen United put in a performance here or there, and then I've seen us be rubbish. Like, do you get me? Like, I've seen things like where, like, I need to see a sustainable way of playing. I need to see sustainable, like, I need to see sustainable tactics. I need to see us, like, over a course of a season, go into games against top half teams and bottom half teams. And the reason why I was putting particular emphasis on bottom half teams, because I think it's one of them ones where we saw what happened in the FA Cup final, where United played well and we set up correctly and we were able to beat City. But when you are expected to dominate possession, when you are expected to create chances upon chances against teams like Southampton, that's where the real pressure lies, where it's like, you know what? Are you able to consistently take the initiative and control football matches? Because that's what you're going to need to do. Like, you can't just, and again, I think that's why you're looking at Ten Hag, and a lot of us are looking at him thinking, oh, you know what? You're really just looking like a cup manager. Whereas, like, again, on a one-off game, like, you're able to, like, do you get me? Get a result. You're able to put something together. But what we want to see is, no, over the course of X amount of games, we want to see consistency. We want to see you control the match. We want to see us be dynamic in attack. We want to see our midfield be organized. We want to see a press that isn't chaotic. We want to see a defense where the defensive line is not so deep, but we're higher up. We want to see Onana distributing the ball properly. Like, we want to see things that are consistent. Like, do you get me? Like, when I was analyzing Arsenal versus Spurs, you guys have lost Rice and you've lost Ødegaard. And I'm looking at it and I'm still thinking, you know what? Arsenal can still get a result here because you've got foundations. Like, you've got foundations that have been set up over a period of time, whereas, like, you know what? When there's crisis, we can lean onto these foundations. Man United don't have those foundations. So when we have problems, when we have injuries, it's chaos. And that's why I don't buy just, you know what? We had loads of injuries last season. That's why we performed. That's why we performed.
Harry Potter, bro.
Do you get me, bro? Fam, I don't buy that. United did have a lot of injuries. And yes, Martinez is really influential as regards to how we play. He's our best passer from the ball in defense. Like, do you get me? These things are true. Yes, we were unlucky. But even with that, we still shouldn't have been that bad. Like, there's no reason as to why we should have been that bad. Again, when you are being coached correctly, when you are being coached properly, when there's crisis, you lean back onto your principles. You lean back onto what you have been taught. When you're getting pressured, those things become muscle memory. Like, you remember, oh, you know what? This is how we play. Oh, you know what, guys? We need to get back into our positions. You know what, guys? We need to make sure we're organized. You know what, guys? Whilst we are vulnerable, whilst we do have injuries, we have built these solid foundations and we're going to lean back on them and we're going to make sure that we are acting accordingly. And I think Man United, because everything is so chaotic, one injury, one thing goes wrong, and now you're saying, oh, because this player is injured, we now can't play football. We don't know what to do. Everyone's just doing whatever. Everything's chaotic. And then Ten Hag's like, oh, I don't have a one. What do you want me to do? Do you get me? Oh, this, that, whatever. No, that's not how it works. When a team is coached properly, bro, I've seen Ferguson put lineups. I've seen Ferguson put lineups together where you're looking, what? Oh, and again, oh, bro, I'm getting mad. Oh, my God, bro.
That's why I just stepped back. I said, let me let him cook. I said, let me let him cook.
I'm getting mad, bro. Bro, even when, like, I've watched Man United, and yes, of course, we had great players. Under Fergie, great players, phenomenal players. But we also had players who weren't necessarily the most talented, but they knew what they were doing. They had been coached. They knew what their role was. We had principles. We had a foundation. This Man United team don't have principles. They don't have a foundation. And that's our problem. So when we're trying to control games, when we are trying to press, when we are trying to create chances, everything is chaotic, it's disorganized. And we can't just be relying on individual moments of brilliance. We can't just be relying on certain players to bail us out of trouble in instances. We can't be relying on McTominay. He's gone to Napoli.
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
rely on that.
He did not want to let that guy go, bro.
Yeah, you can't rely on the last minute winners. Do you get me? As a well-coached football team should have principles. They should have a way of playing. They should know, everyone should know. We spoke about City. From the youth team, these guys have been taught how to play football a certain way. The whole club has principles as regards to their style of play, as regards to how they're going to approach football matches, as regards to what they need to do to perform and to win. Man United need to make sure that we have principles, that we have an organized way of playing, that we have a foundation. And that's why I'm saying Manchester United's midfield problem goes beyond Casemiro. Organization is not there. Systematically, we have fundamental problems. And if you think Ugarte is just going to come into that midfield with the current system and solve all of our issues, then you are deluded. It doesn't make any sense. We need to make sure that we've got a system that can thrive and is sustainable. And currently, Ten Hag has shown that he's not capable of doing that. I hope I am wrong. I hope they figure it out. I hope we start playing good football. But I'm not going to look at this game against Southampton and say, you know what? We scored some goals. We put some passes together. Everything is now great. Because he's shown me consistently over a period of time that he can't sustain a way of playing and it is chaos. So, bro, United win, I'm happy. Of course I'm happy. I love my football club. But I'm looking at us and I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here. And I feel sorry for Ugarte because I can see him coming in and I can see him being used as a scapegoat because they're going to look at it and think, oh, this is the guy that was supposed to solve all of your problems. Do you get me? And then people are going to be saying, oh, they bought this guy and they're still rubbish. It's still disorganized. Bro, we are just trolling, bro. Like, we're trolling. Like, we need to sort this out. And that's what I'm saying. Yes, Casemiro's not the Casemiro of Real Madrid. Of course he's not. But, bro, if you think Manchester United's midfield problems are just because of Casemiro, I am telling you, you don't know what you are talking about. You don't. It's not true. It's not. Systematically, we have fundamental problems. If we don't systematically change how we are pressing, how we are approaching football matches, how our midfield is organized, we are always going to have issues. It's that simple, bro. I'm done talking. I'm tired.
Mike, I'm scared to talk. I want to say something, but I don't want to say. I don't want to step on the mind. I don't step on the mind. But yeah, honestly, bro, nah, you're spitting, man. And I completely agree with everything that you were saying. Like, genuinely, like, I think one of my harshest critique on Ten Hag so far, where I think even I've kind of even given him a bit more time than I think other people have, because I was on the whole thing of like, I haven't seen what you're trying to do yet. It's a big problem, the fact that it's this much, and I still don't really know what you're trying to do. I've seen Arne Slot come in. I see what you're trying to do. I saw Ange come in. I saw what you're trying to do. But as like Ten Hag, I still don't know. But I'm still saying I want to at least give you the chance to show me before I then critique it. But then what I'm seeing he's trying to do, I completely agree with you, man. I don't even want to. We'll get into it on Sunday. I think there's even more to talk. I think you summarized it perfectly. And I think again, this is where you kind of see people who I think me and you were talking about the other day where again I don't even claim to be a tactic or I'm looking at the game and I completely understand everything that's happening. But I think I'm clocking that. I think a lot of people aren't really conscious when they're watching football in general. Like you kind of just remember the big points and everything else is kind of a blur. And I feel like what you're saying is perfect. That if you replace Casemiro and you put Ugarte, it doesn't matter because that's what Ten Hag wanted. It's not gonna work if he's gonna play in the same way. That's why I genuinely feel like I'm gonna say this now, bro. For me to refer back to later on, and I'm gonna just move on. I feel like for Ten Hag to even have a chance in the short to medium term, I think your midfield is gonna have to be Casemiro and Ugarte. I don't know what that means for Menu, Bruno, but it's gonna have to be both of them,
bro.
Like,
bro, literally, bro, we're gonna, literally, bro. When we talk about Man United's midfield, bro, I am literally, bro, because, bro, I'm not even gonna.
No, I know.
Hey, bro, what's your prediction, bro? What's your prediction?
You know what? Let's stop talking about United. Let me talk about stuff just a little bit, just to say, again, obviously my boy Ramsdale was there. I hope he's going to be there to add some more pain. I hope he's there to add to this Ten Hag nightmare where even when you guys aren't getting through on goal, you guys are also doing what? Because you're also very similar to Spurs. I think I saw that you're fifth in terms of expected goals this season. Well, you're like I think you're second to bottom in terms of actually converting it. So I hope Ramsdale can continue that trend. So I don't want to say that. That's why I think it's going to be a tight match overall, even if you do dominate them. But go on.
Very quickly, bro. You know what it is? Like I was hopeful. Like, even though I thought, you know what, Ten Hag's not the right man for the job, I was hopeful that after last season and with everything that happened in the summer with the signings and even Ineos coming in and his job was under, severe pressure and we didn't know if he was going to return, I thought that he would look at this season and say, you know what, I need to make sure that things are changing. Like, I thought he would be sensible enough to say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to approach matches like this. We're going to make sure that this is the case. And I think he's gone into the season. And again, bro, like these press conferences where he's saying this and he's saying that and etc. Like, do you get me? Like, I think he's one of them ones. Like, I thought where this is the final thing I say. I think where a lot of Man United fans' hope came from is that we looked at Ineos and we said, cool, they've come in. There's people here that know about football. We've made different signings. We've tried to address the weaknesses that we have in our team. And hopefully, with added guidance, Ten Hag will look at this and say, you know what, we need to approach things differently. We thought that he might be sensible enough to say, you know what, this is what we need to do. How we've been playing previously isn't sustainable. And again, we thought if that happens, then maybe we will improve. It's not to say that, we think that he's still going to be the right man for the job. Do you get me? And again, I always say this, like, do you get me? I love Man United. I would love for Ten Hag I would love to look at this later. I would love to look at this later and say, look at me. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. Ten Hag had something up his sleeve. Maybe he is Harry Potter. Maybe he is Harry Potter. Maybe he did have the wand after all, and he knew what he was doing, and it just took a bit of time to settle in. And now look at us. Look at what's happening. Look at the football. Look at the organization. Look at the press. But unfortunately, I don't believe that that's the case. And again, I hate them, bro. I don't like Liverpool. But I look at Bro, I don't like Liverpool, bro. I looked at Slot and I looked at him and I was hearing him speak. I heard Slot speak after the game. And again, I don't like Liverpool, but I like people. I'm getting angry again. Last thing I'll say. I don't like Liverpool. But when I saw Slot look at how we play, and you know what it is? He looked at how we played last year as well, bro. Like, he was given a in-depth analysis. He was like, you know what? I've realized that this is how United played last year. I've realized that this is what they're trying to do this year. And this is the solution, because this is Like this is very, very, very easily something that we can bypass. And it was that simple. And I think it's really annoying when Ten Hag, again, he comes into press conferences and he's saying this and he's saying that. And it's just like, bro, like, come on, man. We can't all be wrong, man.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
But
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
bro,
even with that.
without triggering you again, something I just remembered too with Ali's lot. I don't think you saw the apparent comments by Pep as well, bro. When they asked him like, how do you prepare for like a second Ten Hag team? He basically just said, "Hey man, who knows what they're gonna do?" So how do you prepare for the unpreparable? Like I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, so I can find those quotes apparently. Is what I heard that Pep said. But yeah, man, I completely agree, man. We've spoken about this. Some of that I think you get highlighted if your manager and believing what he said. And I've said it, man. I hear Ten Hag speak, and I'm just like, you're trying to lie to me. I've seen Wenger when Arsenal have performed badly go and do some distraction tactics, but I know he's going back and told his man what was really what. But with Ten Hag, the longer it goes on and I hear him speak, I feel like this guy genuinely is like, yeah, he believes what he's saying. Understand? Like, towards the end of the season where he's still talking about, the Arsenal, we should have won. He still believes that. Like, it's still on his chest. It's still a big thought of his. And I'm clocking that's really what this guy's about, man. So, yeah, I agree. Without getting back into it, man, let's just get into predictions for this game. Because, that Ten Hag, he might not be Harry Potter, but he needs to conjure up a win, man. You guys must win this match. Like, I agree. 100%. So, I'm going... let me go. You go with your prediction first. I'll tell you what I'm going.
Again, when we're talking about United overall and we're talking about a season overall, then there's a lot of things to be said. And again, we'll break that down and there's severe problems. But as regards to this match, Manchester United have to win. So I'm going with a 2-0 win. Again, it wouldn't even surprise me if United did banter. Do you get me? But yeah, hopefully, honestly, bro, it wouldn't even surprise me, man.
No,
like,
I hear it.
I'm looking at them. But genuinely, I do think we will win. I do think we will win. So I'm going for a 2-0 win.
All right, cool. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna go for a 2-1. So it's good that we're different in there too, because I think United will win too. But I also think I can see you guys conceding. I know they're on the list, so he needs to be careful.
That's fair.
So that's one thing. That's one thing about United, that if you come and you start making mistakes, it piles on, bro. The pressure starts piling on. I think it also increases the chance of you continuing to make mistakes. So he needs to be very careful. I guess you'll start in this game too. You don't want to be making no mistakes in this type of match and that leading to anything. So I'm gonna stick 2-1 because I see you guys conceding. So I think that's like kind of my kind of prediction for this fixture. But it's definitely gonna be an interesting one. Interesting match to watch regardless, man. And then kind of moving on, the next fixture that I thought was really interesting this week. But I don't know, really interesting because again, I think I kind of know who I expect to win. I thought we should go to Chelsea away at Bournemouth, because I feel like this is a game where, again, it's like this is more where we then look at Chelsea and say, like, can you guys stop? Are you guys going to be consistent? I think that's one of the big issues that you have with these young players, that against a Bournemouth where they're good enough that they're going to put you under pressure, they're going to test your defense, or you guys going to just come and do the job and then you can now go on a run of winning matches? Because I'm seeing now that Reece James is out, apparently Gusto's still out, so they're not going to have a right back. I'm hearing Lavia, he's still maybe just about coming in. That's another one that we're going to have to keep an eye on this season in terms of he was their best player in preseason. They barely played last year, and it looks like the injury and problems are still kind of following on this year. I know Caicedo ends up coming back late from, their South America kind of duties. So I mean, there's a little kind of like chink in like the Chelsea defensive midfield kind of armor where it's like, there's no excuses. You still have to go beat Bournemouth. So I don't know if you wanted to have any kind of quick words on that on this game. I thought it's another one where Bournemouth are good enough that they will give them a game, man. I think that's something that in the last 17 matches, bro, Chelsea haven't kept a clean sheet away from home. They conceded, I think, like 34 goals. So there's going to be goals in this match. So this is one, I think, is there matches that on this paper you might not see, but I think it's one to watch, man. So I want to kind of touch on this game.
I think when I'm looking at Chelsea again, we've spoken about them in last night's stream, and I think we'll continue to speak about them. But they've got a lot of quality. They do have players that can create. Again, we've spoken about Cole Palmer, we've spoken about Pedro Neto. Obviously, like I said, that I do like João Felix. Like we saw what Madueke did against Wolves. Like there's Nicholas Jackson there, where obviously we spoke about him as like a clinical striker, and him not being that, but he's also not a bad player in my opinion. So yeah, like Chelsea, I think they've got like players who like are like their quality, and they've also got players who, you know, like they can hurt teams. Like they're good enough like to be really effective like in certain instances. Like, so I think I'm looking at Chelsea and I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? Consistency. Like, because I think Chelsea can sway from one way to the other. And I think we saw things click in that second half against Wolves, but people also forget that it was 2-2 at half time. And yeah, it was very back and forth. Do you get me? And then we saw Madueke and Palmer link up. Like, do you get me? Like 3 times was it? And then yeah, do you get me? Like that was that.
3 times,
yeah, like do you get me? That was that. So yeah, and I think it's 8 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah,
like do you get me? Yeah, under the lights. Like again, I think Bournemouth could give them a game. It's really interesting though, because I think it's one of them ones where like Chelsea have the players to cause Bournemouth a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if things click, then yeah, like you're looking at that, like those creative players, and you're thinking, oh, you know what, like chances are going to come. Like, do you get me? Whether you can finish them and whether your defense can also be resolute enough is a different question. But overall, yeah, like I think it's not. I think it can be. I think it could go like Chelsea are one of them teams where it's like they don't really surprise me. Like, do you get me? Like, if I like, they've not been consistent for such a period of time now, where it's just like they don't really surprise me. Do you get me? But yeah, I do think Chelsea will get the win though.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think you touched on it perfectly. Where like, yeah, I feel like Bournemouth will give them trouble though. Like having Semenyo, Ivanosen that we spoke, and we don't. We'll see what he's about in this kind of game as well against the Chelsea. Because yeah, I think Chelsea will give chances. So yeah, that's why for me, my prediction for this game, bro, I'm actually going for a 3-2 Chelsea win. I think I agree with what you're saying. I feel like Chelsea will have enough going forward where I think Neto will start, Jackson, Palmer. I think Palmer is the one bagsman in that team that I know if they give him the chances, I think he will bag. I think he hasn't. He hasn't. I don't think he's also started the season in terms of like goal scoring wise. On the same, I guess, on the same kind of fire that he did last year. I think he's been more creative this year so far, and I feel like he can be that guy when they need a goal. He can deliver it for them. So that's why I think they have too much for Bournemouth, but I also think Chelsea defensively are so suspect that I think they're gonna at least concede as well. So that's why I'm going for a 3-2 Chelsea win. What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going for a 2-1 Chelsea win.
I hear it. I think that's a good shout as well. Yeah, see how many goals Chelsea can actually put away. This time I'm interested to keep an eye on the Hodgson guy as well that you're talking about, 6'5" centre back from Juve. So yeah, that's one to see on Sam. Can he do anything against Jackson? See that matchup. See where he can do anything. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for that one. But moving on to the next game that I thought would be good to touch on to mix it up. You know, we usually kind of focus on like the traditional Big Six teams. But I thought another game that's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on this year. You know, my second team for this season, you might say, you know, the HALE boys at Fulham. I thought Fulham versus West Ham is another game, bro, where I feel like this is actually, I feel like this is the kind of match where you start to look at West Ham and you say, Fulham are good enough where if you're serious about trying to compete for this European spots, you need to be going to a Fulham and doing something against them. So I feel like we're going to learn a lot about West Ham in this one. But I don't know what your kind of initial thoughts on this game.
Bro, this game for me is really hard to call, man. Like, it's hard to call. I think obviously we've spoken in depth around about West Ham and obviously the quality they've got, the transfer window that they've had. And we've also spoken about Fulham and the quality that they've added. And I think, yeah, it's going to be, I think it will be a good game. And I think, yeah, it's a really hard one to pick. So, yeah, like I was looking at it and I was thinking, oof, like, yeah, like, do you get me? Like, I can see players from both sides that can cause the other side trouble. And yeah, like, I think it's going to be, oof. It's going to be difficult, really, really difficult to predict. Like, yeah, so Yeah.
No, I agree. It's definitely going to be a tough match, man. I feel like you said, both teams. You know, last year we saw how dangerous Bowen can be away from home, and I feel like he's going to be a big player to look out for in this game because I think, like I alluded to earlier, if you joined us at the start of the stream, that Fulcrum, I think he's a little doubt for this game again because of the Nation League matches. So we'll see whether he will feature. And then also, so yes, I think Bowen will be massive for West Ham. And a player that I actually wanted to shout out as well for Fulham is actually Robinson. You know, I was looking at the stats, but I didn't know that this guy, from a defensive point of view, from the start of last year, he's had the second, I guess, most assists from a defender. And I feel like, I was like, you know what? That's why he's in my FPL. But we'll get.
I was about to say, bro, why do you think everyone's got him in the FPL?
That's why I was like, it made sense just after the fact. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on him a little bit. And yeah, just echo your thoughts. And yeah, this is definitely a tough one to pull. But I actually narrowly have the home side pulling it, man. I think Fulham will do it. I think it's a 2-1 in my eyes, man. I thought, it could very easily be a draw as well, but I feel like I also did rate Fulham's business. I feel like, the Sanderberg comes in, like we said, ESR is more comfortable there now. You've got Reece Nelson that they got on loan to. That's so Muniz, I told you, he's the one. I know the FPL people are looking at idea. He's the one that is a big doubt. But I feel like I really rate Marcus Silva as well as a manager. Where Lopetegui, I'm not really sure.
He's a good manager.
I think there's a lot more I have to kind of see with Lopetegui. Whether he's also the guy as well for West Ham, as good as their window was. Whether is he really going to be the truth for them this season? So I narrowly have Fulham getting this one. So I've got 2-1 Fulham. What's your prediction for this game, bro?
Bro, I'm going the other way, you know.
Okay.
I'm going 2-1 West Ham.
West Ham. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham win at all. Like, again, I think you've spoken about Smith Rowe, Iwobi. Like, I think, and I know you don't rate Muniz, but like, if he's able to catch form, then do you get me? So I think Fulham definitely have, like, the capabilities of beating West Ham. But I think, I am just going for West Ham. I think, like, in the same light, I think West Ham have just got, like, a lot of players who can, like, they've just got a lot of players who can cause problems for Fulham. And again, like, Fulham have got the home advantage. That's what made it even more difficult, because I was like, oof, like, but I think, again, you've spoken about Bowen, we've spoken about Kudus, we've spoken about Paqueta, like, and I think, they've got players that can, like, do the damage. And like, with someone like a Bowen as well, like, he's someone where it's like a chance can fall to him, goal, like, do you get me? And like, I've just gone with West Ham. Like,
I think that's a good shout as well, man. It's definitely it can definitely go either way, and it can be split in the middle too, and very easily. So definitely a game to keep an eye on. Like, kind of like we've got different teams there, so we're gonna see how this plays out for the predictions. Keep a keen eye on that match. And then I felt like we should go to, I guess, your ups, the ARNE slot. Is he going to make it 12 out of 12? Because I had a very good start to the season. They invite Forest. You know what it is there? This is actually those games where, again, I expect Liverpool to win. But I also think this is them ones. They're going to win, but I don't think it's as, like, easy as maybe you might think on paper. Just because I was looking at the underlying numbers, Forest have actually been quite good defensively this year as well. And I feel like this is going to be the first time they're also going to really see slot. I guess maybe Brentford a little bit, which was a tight match. Go up against a team that's this is the Premier League where these men are going to park the bus and try to hit you on the counter. They're going to give you full respect. That's going to be the complete opposite to the United match. So I think I want to see how he adapts to teams playing Liverpool like that as well. So I think that this would be a nice little test for the side, how that kind of works out for him. And again, like, I really rate Gibbs White. Again, that might be the type of center attacking mid that maybe can be around the Gravenberch, where we can kind of test him a bit more. He said he's a player I want to see tested in that part of the position with the right type of player. So again, someone that has legs, someone that can cause them problems. So definitely want to keep an eye on. But I agree. Where you kick us off in this prediction? Well, what's your prediction for this match? Liverpool Forest.
Bro, just very quickly. Again, I don't like these man, so it's really unfortunate that I have to give them some praise. But man, like, I just, even after the like, during the international break, like, again, I was just looking at this Trent guy. Bro.
Generation, like, man. Generation.
Bro, like, again, I don't like Liverpool at all.
Yeah.
I always say it just because, you know, I just don't ever want there to be any confusion. Just in case you had like a little doubt, like just let it be known
Oh,
that I
gosh.
don't like these man. Do you get it? But yeah, again, like have to be fair and again integrity and that. But yeah, Trent's a generational footballer. No, honestly, integrity and that, bro.
I
Integrity and that.
appreciate it, bro.
Do you
Thank you,
get me?
man.
Yeah,
Some
man. Like, do you get
professionalism.
me?
Thank
Yeah,
you,
some
bro.
professionalism. Do you get me? Just can't be wilding out. Like, do you get me? Gotta stay composed. So yeah. But yeah, Trent's a generational footballer. Like the things he can do with a football, the passes he can find, the crosses that he can make. Like this guy is absolutely phenomenal. Like he's a phenomenal football player. And a lot of the time people talk about his defensive capabilities. And I've said it before. I think sometimes they are greatly exaggerated. And I think people go on like this guy can just not defend at all. And that's not the case. Of course, we know that attacking wise, he is generational and defensively he is not. But also that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a horrible defender. But I want to talk about his ability on the ball. And this guy can do things with a football that I've never seen a right back be able to do. Like, and a lot has been said as regards to, you know what, he should be a midfielder. But I think when he is in that right back position and he does have time and space to invert and to pick up the ball and look up and he's got the whole pitch ahead of him, I think that's where he's at his best. I think central midfield is a specialist position and you don't necessarily get the same time that you get at right back. And I think a lot of the time people see the passes, people see the crosses, people see what he can do with a football. And you think, you know what? He needs to be a midfielder because look how gifted he is. And that's not necessarily the case. Trent won the Champions League as a right back. Trent won the Premier League as a right back. All the trophies that Liverpool got on the club, Trent was playing right back. He's capable of playing right back. Don't take away what makes him great. Again, he does need to improve defensively in certain aspects. But this idea that, oh, you know what, he's such a liability that we need to move him into midfield, again, it doesn't make sense to me. Everything that you've seen that has made him great has come from right back. So he should continue in that position. For England, he should be starting as the right back. No discussion. Like, he's starting. Like, I don't know what we're talking about when we're saying, should Trent play defensively? Bro, when you've got a generational footballer that can do the things that he does, he starts. It's very simple. He starts, bro. Like, do you get me? We're talking about England and you're thinking, oh, why don't they progress? Do you get me? Again, do you think if Spain had Trent, bro, do you think if Spain had Trent at right back, do you think there'll be a conversation about, defensively is a bit vulnerable, so you know what? We need to make sure that
even to shout out Lee Carsley, bro. You think Gomez is touching the pitch under any of these previous English managers? That type of centre midfielder.
Yeah, bro.
You think
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about again?
Yeah,
like,
but that's what holds them back, innit?
Fam, like the best nations. Do you think Spain is gonna look at Trent and say, "Oh, you know what? He can't start right back because defensively he can be a bit vulnerable sometimes." It's like, no, bro. This guy is a generational football player. He can do things with a football at right back that we have not seen. He is starting, and I think you're looking at him and how and I'm hoping that he doesn't sign that new contract, and I'm hoping he goes and joins Jude at Madrid because this guy is so good, man. And yeah, for Liverpool, he can be a real difference maker this season, like a real difference maker this season. I think he's coming to this season and he looks sharp. His passing is what we've seen. He looks like he's right on the money with like everything that he's trying to pull off, sorry. So yeah, man, I'm looking at someone like him. Again, we've spoken about Salah, right back at it. You're looking at Van Dijk, right back at it. You're looking at Alisson, right back at it. And yeah, man, Slot, we spoke about how he was dissecting the tactics against my team. So yeah, Liverpool look good. I also do want to say that I think you make a very fair point, and I do agree with you. I think Forest can make things more difficult than you would believe. Like, do you get me? They can be very compact, and yeah, they do have the ability to hit you on the break. I remember that goal on the break that they scored at the Emirates. I think Alanga, like he was just off.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you get
man.
me? Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you get
man.
me? And
That
then
Sonic.
yeah, do you get me?
Yeah.
And then yeah, they went up on the other end, and I think it was who was it that scored?
Was it?
I forgot his ARNE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the goal. So yeah, like do you get me? Definitely they can frustrate, but I can't see past the Liverpool win.
No,
So,
I agree. And it's interesting you touch on Trent too, and see what Hudson they can do against him as well. Again, that's type of tricky winger sometimes that can give him some problems going the other way. So yeah, no, definitely one to. I just wanted to kind of highlight that a little bit, but I agree. So what's your score prediction for this game, bro?
Bro, I'm going again. It's tough, you know. I'm gonna go 3-0.
Gonna go 3-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0.
Okay, now I'm looking at my prediction. That 3-0. Do some tactics. I think I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool.
Good shot.
Go 2-1 Liverpool. I was thinking 3-1, but I want to give Forest a bit more kind of. I think they can frustrate them a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool. So yeah, that is a prediction for that game. And then the last game that we're gonna cover today. Again, we started off on talking about Arsenal. We have to end talking about the team that we're competing against. Now that preseason is over, as Pep has told us all so kindly. Rodri is now. I think he started for Spain during the Nations League, so you expect him to come back. I'm sure he's had a nice little holiday, ready to start playing football again. I heard that Foden's trained as well, so he's also going to be playing. So that's great. Very happy. We see the smile. Very excited to see those two guys back starting for City against Brentford. So I think this game, Haaland is coming off 2 hat-tricks, as you do. This is going to be the 3rd hat-trick. Who knows? So yeah, bro, I thought this is a game to just kind of, wrap up our predictions for this week. I don't know what your mind is saying. Where do you think Brentford can kind of cause City some problem in this one, or do you think it's going to just be another comfortable win for City at home?
Just very quickly, like condolences to Erling Haaland, because I think I heard that he lost his close friend.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, I think I heard he lost his close friend. So condolences to Haaland. And I think it's not been decided as to whether he's gonna take compassionate leave or if he's gonna miss the game or not play the game. I'm not sure. I think recently, I think very recently, I saw it. So I think Pep was talking about it, and so I don't know if he's gonna play or not. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I think when looking at City, man, I can't see past the City win. Even though Brentford, they can cause trouble. And they have caused trouble for City before.
Bro, they did the double.
Yeah,
double
you get me?
City, bro.
So Brentford can actually cause trouble. So and City, they just have a habit of conceding. Do you get me? City love to concede a goal. But I can't see past City, man.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know about the Haaland, I guess.
I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
So I guess I guess we don't really know what's gonna happen there. But that also I guess would kind of influence our kind of prediction for this game. But I guess my initial prediction going into it, because I agree. I think especially Brentford team, man, with the Wembley whistle. I think City, the most you can get at City is that on the break quick transition. I think Brentford can do that really well with whistle and Wembley, which is why I think they can. I'm thinking 3-2 to City. But then I'm like, if Haaland isn't playing, then I'll probably scale it down to 2-1, and then I think maybe City be a bit more reserved. But I'm gonna stick with that because I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna stick with my initial kind of thoughts going into this match, not really knowing who exactly is gonna start. So yeah, I'm going for a 3-2 City win in this game. I think they'll win, but I think Brentford will give them a good game, and I think they'll also try to frustrate. And I think they can get a couple on the break against them. It's kind of my thoughts and thinking about the match. So yeah, what do you think about this one, bro? And also, sorry, before you kind of go to, I guess also to another player that was injured during these Nation League games was Nathan Ake. He got stretched off the pitch, which again, I'm very unfortunate. So wish him the best. Unfortunate. Soon. So, but yeah, what's your prediction for this?
I'm gonna go 3-1 City.
3-1 City. All right, cool. Cool. Just to, yeah, I think that was all of the games that I kind of thought that we should cover. So yeah, those are the 6 matches. We're gonna get the prediction table update for everyone for the Sunday episode to kind of see where the table is looking like. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how we kind of go like throughout the season. So yeah, and I guess to kind of towards the end of the episode, from one of the competitions, it's going to lead to like the term who's going to win in our like mini competition. I think this is a good point to bring up what the current FPL kind of standout is looking like. Update everyone on where we currently are. So let me just bring that up quickly. Just wanted to just bring that up to show where we currently are following the. I know it's been so long. I know people have even forgotten. Don't forget to update your team, people. But matches are back now because
I need to do that.
Break. Yeah, you just forget about it. But yeah, so going into the international break, I had a really good week, thankfully, because I said Highland got a hat trick the week previous. Let me just keep the captaincy on him, and it worked out. But I saw that you took a very risky, bold move. I think we both spoke about getting rid of that Nkuku guy. So we both said that guy needs to come out of our team. So I'm guessing that probably influenced your decision making. So I thought you might want to talk on that a little bit.
Nkuku needed to go like ASAP. He was always gonna go. I decided to make the move to bring Palmer in. And yeah, I'm happy he's in my team. Yeah, like not captaining Haaland or Salah hurt me this week like a lot. Like if I had captained either one of them, then yeah, I would have been better off. But yeah, I went with Palmer, and in that match, like Chelsea did have opportunities, and yeah, he's someone that can consistently be a threat and can get points. But yeah, it clearly didn't pay off this week. And yeah, that has hurt my ranking. Like, and then obviously, yeah, you had a really good week with the Haaland captaincy, obviously, and then even like Eze, like
you
do you get me?
Ooh,
yeah, man, it was coming. Like it was actually coming. Like, yeah. So yeah, and then obviously, yeah, I'm looking at my defense currently, and do you get me? Yeah, like Martinez, no points. Obviously, that Liverpool match. But yeah, man. Like, yeah. Need to get back into it. I need to even look at my team and make sure everything's sorted
ready
for the
to
deadline
go
tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think that was like the big kind of difference in our two teams was who you got for captaincy. So yeah, I saw that mistake, and once the Chelsea match finished, I was like, this is gonna help a lot. So I guess going from that, and then this is what the table currently looks like. I think I don't remember where I was previously going into this week, but I know I was probably like 6 or 7 or something. So I actually had a really good
change
week.
quick.
Yeah, and I think that's what it really is, man. This FPL season really, it's just who you captain. Captain the right player is gonna work out for you. You go for the wrong one, it's gonna hurt you. So because so many people's teams are quite similar, and there's only a few kind of differentials in it. So I think this is gonna be another kind of one I'm gonna have to think about tonight, because I haven't thought about my team at all in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I had a really good week. Currently leading the 2 up front league. As always, people, if you want to get involved, then look in the description below to join the league. We'll always shout you out if you happen to be doing better than, I guess, currently me, because I'm currently top. So I'm gonna shout out to hey man, let me just top my top. Fair play. Also, I have to, I guess, shout out, like I see Vidi Vici close second. So yeah, it's gonna be a tight competition. An overduck change. You might always see him in the description. Clearly, you might know what he's talking about, but he's still up there. I know he's burning, because I don't think he has Salah on his team. So I know he might be thinking, how can I make it work? Good luck, bro. I hope you make it work. And then we have D Dragon, rounding up the top 4. And just for the people that I don't know, Vidi Vici and D Dragon, there's a little rivalry there. So that might be one to keep an eye on throughout the season to see who finishes top. Because I know there's a lot of trash talk that goes on behind the scenes. But I'll keep you updated with that. So so I'm currently a league leader. This is how the table is currently looking. And we go on to another kind of game week. Very happy that, football is actually back now. So after all of this, we're finally going to get to watch some matches again tomorrow, bro. So just wanted to kind of update everyone on that. Get back over here. And that was the agenda for this episode, ran over a little, but I said, hey man, I had to let Major cook. I said, I can't stop him, man. This guy he was going up on it. I said, all right, bro, talk your talk. You get off your chest, bro. Football therapy. My head to understand talk. I know I'm gonna need some of them in the future as well. He just let me go. So hey, I hope you remember this this goodwill. So
Will do, bro.
Nah, so I don't know if you have any kind of closing remarks before we kind of wrap up this episode.
Hey man, to whoever watched for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, the whole stream, again, always really grateful. And yeah, man, like obviously we streamed last night. It was a really long stream. Streamed again today. And yeah, man, like always grateful for whoever watches this later. Like, and for whoever even like, do you get me, just decides to like check out our socials and just see clips. Like again, always grateful for whoever shares. And again, like I'm never going to stop saying thank you, like, because yeah, man, like I really do appreciate it. Like, and I know Ace does as well. So yeah, man. And I'm hoping this is a good weekend for me. To all United supporters, hey man, guys, I know what you're going through. I know things aren't easy, but yeah, man, hopefully we will rise again. And so yeah, man. But yeah, hope everyone has a great weekend, and always thank you for like tuning in and like hearing us speak about football. Like it's been a good journey so far. Hopefully it gets even better.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect way to round it up. So yeah, no, thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, if you do watch this later too, don't forget to leave a like. It'll help us out a lot. Share it. And yeah, like Major said, you can follow us on our socials just so you can see when we go live there. I know the YouTube algorithm, sometimes it's a bit higgy-haggo telling people when we're going live. So that might be a way that you can kind of keep in tune. But I think we're both people we're very conscious of feeling like we don't want to also spam people and make people like we want you to be here, you want to be here in it. So and everyone who does want to be here, we really appreciate you. And yeah, any feedback you can give us as well, please let us know. And also, I didn't even kind of tell you this before. I kind of also told some people too that yeah, over the next coming weeks, you want to get involved, hit us up. You understand? We might bring some more people on the stream as well, man. Get some other opinions, talk about it. You might be loading up thinking these guys have been talking nonsense for the last 4 weeks. Let me come and correct them. Come and talk your talk, bro. Get involved. So just wanted to kind of put that out there for the people as well who have been kind of tuning in. And I think that'll be something really good to kind of start introducing over the next coming weeks as we're becoming more comfortable with this whole kind of streaming kind of stuff. So yeah, as Major said, man. Yeah, thank you everyone who's watching that. And yeah, until Sunday, until the next one. And yeah, have a good weekend. See you guys later.